And if I had to be another person to stand up, if I think after really going through this, and looking at the files and looking at the case, if I really feel that Karen Reed didn't do this and I have to be a voice that stands up and helps, I will.
We are expecting to learn more about the allegations against the girlfriend of a Boston police officer who was found unresponsive in the snow Saturday morning. I-Team sources say Karen Reed was in a relationship with John O'Keefe. She's facing charges including motor vehicle homicide and manslaughter.
We're the only ones fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. Just feels like no one else wants it.
Just to be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life.
Yeah.
I tried to save his life at 6 in the morning. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life.
Why'd you admit to it?
She didn't admit to it. She didn't admit to anything close to that. Nothing close to that. And you should know that.
That was like 3 or 4 times she admitted to it.
No, she didn't.
That's not true.
She asked a question. She asked a question, which is very different. She didn't admit to anything.
I'm going to tell you one thing. Karen Reed's not going to fold. Karen Reed's not going to give up. Defense team's not going to quit. The Free Karen Reed movement is going to continue. We will continue to raise funds for her. We will continue to do standouts across Massachusetts, across the nation, across the world to let everybody know what's going on here in the state of Massachusetts, the corruption. And we will continue to get the word out there. Believe me. Believe me. All right, here we are, everybody. It is was day one of jury selection in the Karen Reed trial 2.0. And I want to welcome everybody in. It is April Fool's Day. I'm not doing a show. Goodbye, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. It was like really lame joke. But anyway, welcome back into Let's Talk Live here on the LTL Media channel. Everybody is duking it out for space on the interweb. Holy smokes. There's shows left, right, all hours of the day. But I appreciate everybody joining this show tonight. And we're going to do our best to get through this tonight. And I'm going to have a little special guest join me here in a second. But I want to welcome everybody in. Make sure to smash that like button when you come in. I see some moderators and members and maybe some new subscribers over here. And if you're new here, make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment after this posts. So did everybody watch the jury instructions today? I got to watch a little bit of it while I was at home this afternoon, literally cleaning my apartment. I felt like I haven't been there in a year. It was a total disaster area because I like work full time and then I go to come here full time. And it's like, I needed just a day. It was just like phone off. Let's clean the apartment. Let's make it shine, some spring cleaning. And it turned out really well. And I actually donated like 3 huge bags, like 45-gallon bags of clothes to like Salvation Army today. So I felt good about that. Hopefully someone can do some good with that and use that going forward. But anyway, I don't want to wait too much longer. Let's bring in my co-host here. Joining virtually tonight, we got Lauren DC in the house. How are you, Lauren?
I'm pretty good. How are you today, Brian?
I'm not too bad. So we're here, jury selection day one. And I'm going to run through some headlines here, and then we'll play the video from that today. And then if we have some time at the end of the show, like we always do when we're together, we'll take some live calls. So I got like 8 highlights here. We'll talk about them briefly, and then we'll bring up the video from the jury selection today. And it was very interesting in there. It was interesting outside too. I was watching a little bit of Tommy's feed, and they had a little bit of a run-in with the Dedham police down there in front of the courthouse. But so anyway, we had a ruling the other day. Judge Bev ruled that Reed's team will be allowed to use the third-party culprit defense, but can't argue that witness Colin Albert could be responsible for the death of John O'Keefe. And I was trying to think to myself, like, why would she do this? And I know some of the chatter around the interwebs was like, maybe it's like an age thing. I mean, I don't know. And I know that, Yannetti
Minor.
the other day and named Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, and Colin Albert. And it's just really weird. She's basically saying there's not evidence to support that he's there. But I don't know. He's definitely in the house. He's definitely there. That's been proven.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think when you heard that?
So I was working all day, not like you, but like a lot of people. So I wasn't able to follow everything. But I did hear a few highlights, and I don't know. It's interesting that she won't allow the Colin Albert third party theory because the age thing, he's not a minor. I could maybe understand if he was a minor, like there could be some red tape you have to walk around for, making accusations in court or something like that, but he's not a minor. So I don't really know. I can't think of anything other than she's protecting the McAlberts.
Yeah. That's seems to be the thing here. But the thing is, I think about it, really quick before we move on to the next point, and I've been talking about this a lot. We talked about it with Todd McGee. We talked about it with Bettero when he was on the show the other day, that I just think hammering home reasonable doubt is going to be the way that they're going to go. The way that I would like to see them do this, fuck all this other shit. Just nail down how shitty the investigation was. Look at in the audit today, and I haven't even fully gone through it. And tomorrow night, we're going to have Todd McGee on the show. We're going to go through it. But even in the audit, there were policy and procedure violations. Tackle that. Go at that stuff. Show that the evidence wasn't collected properly. And I said this before. The OJ Netflix documentary, the most recent one, what did the defense team do? Well, they said, well, what do we have? Well, we have hours and hours and hours of video footage of the state collecting evidence, that state crime lab, and watching them not wearing gloves, not following policy and procedure, not using, sterile containers. That's the type of thing that I want to see the defense attack this time around, because it shows you contaminated evidence, and even said in the audit, and I can't wait to get into it tomorrow with Todd, is that, there was policy and procedure violations.
Yeah. And I hope that the Canton audit, I don't know if this was addressed already, but I hope that it can be used as evidence in court, because that basically calls into question everything from the prosecution. The fact that the crime scene wasn't maintained and there wasn't integrity in collecting the evidence, that pretty much puts everything into question. So I hope they can use that audit result in the evidence.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to do that. I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to do that.
You never know what Bev will allow these days.
Yeah,
or not allow.
Exactly. So we had jury selection today. We'll move on here. We had jury selection today. More than 1,000 people called from Norfolk County. Oh, by the way, I just texted you. You're lagging a little bit. So I don't know if you want to log out and come in. It might be your Wi-Fi.
All right. Okay, let me try that.
Lauren's going to drop for a second. She'll be right back. So jury selection today, obviously day one. More than 1,000 people called from Norfolk County. 2 jurors were seated out of 62 potential jurors, 1 man and 1 woman, that Christina Rex reported today. Also, we have 9. I saw another report. 9 law students from Boston area schools are volunteering for Karen Reed's defense team, including 5 from Boston College, 3 from Harvard University, and 1 from Northeastern University. And why not? Why not? Let's get some legal minds. Let's pack that courtroom, because the more people that you have for the defense team, the more eyes and ears you have watching everything inside that courtroom, and break it down and be able to analyze it. Because if the attorneys miss something while they're working, you have this backup that's in the room that is watching everything. Great. I love the move. And then today we had the introduction of attorney Victoria George, who is a former alternate juror from the Reed's first trial. I'm going to bring Lauren back in here. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hopefully
you're
it's working.
lagging. I
Still?
wonder if I wonder if it's the background you're using.
Maybe. Hold on.
That virtual background might be slowing things down. But anyway, so today we had the introduction of Victoria George, who's a former alternate juror from the first Reed trial, which is the craziest thing. I've watched this all across YouTube land, and you know the law tubers are like, I've never seen anything like this before. And I know that Mark Betterow the other night made a huge made some comments on that as well. We'll move. You're pink.
I'm trying to
you-
take it off.
Yeah.
It's just slow
Are
on
you
my
connected
side
to
too.
Wi-Fi right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, your Wi-Fi is lagging bad. All right. Anyway, so another thing that I wanted to do and kind of celebrate today. And anyway, let me just go back to Victoria George real quick. That actually, you're looking a little bit better there. Yeah, it was the background that was doing it. I want to
Okay.
go back to Victoria George really quick and get your kind of take on this, Lauren. Victoria George, former alternate juror in the Reed 1.0. She's now joined the Reed team 2.0, introduced herself in court today, which was fantastic. And I love the move because she was in that jury room. She knows what was going on, and she heard what was going on. And I think that's going to be a really great thing during this jury selection. What do you think? She's frozen.
Oh, now you're frozen.
I'm good.
Here.
Lauren's frozen in time. All right. Moving on. And when Lauren comes back, maybe we have her comment about that. Big, huge announcement here today. I am super happy. I saw this go down. And Jess Machado, formerly of the Fall River Reporter, is now going to cover the Karen Reed trial via the Daily Wire. Unbelievable. I got to give her a hands up there. Huge news network. Huge news network. I'm so proud of her. And if I could be a smidget of the journalist that she is, I'll take that any day. She's definitely an inspiration to me. I love watching her work. She works hard. She works diligently. She gets her facts checked. She gets them in line. And she's a hell of a reporter. And I'm so happy for her. And that's a big news network, the Daily Wire. That's like Ben Shapiro. That's crazy. And I'm so happy for her. So congratulations, Jess. We will be obviously watching your reporting through the Daily Wire. And I am so proud of you and so happy for you. Okay, let's move on here. Michael Proctor called Trooper when introduced on the witness list today. I was in the shower listening to it, and I literally went, "What?" And I had to get out and tap my phone and rewind. And I was like, oh my God. They called him Trooper, or Bev called him Trooper. And then another kind of oh my God moment was when they read the witness list in alphabetical order. The first name on the witness list is one Aiden Turtle Boy Carney. I was just like, what? My mind is blown. I mean, what is the chances of that? And then today, outside of court, very, 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 very strict buffer zone. I was watching a little bit of Tommy and Mike this morning. Tommy was down outside the buffer zone, had a little bit of a run-in with the Dedham PD down there. And they were like, if you come any further past this line, we're going to arrest you. And he's like, I'm media, I'm a journalist, and had a little bit back and forth. So they're going to be very strict down there about the buffer zone. They do have signs up. If you're going to go down there outside of the courthouse, just be careful. I don't want to see anybody get arrested over stupid shit. It's not worth it. And it's a bullshit buffer zone. That's what I call it. Bullshit buffer zone. It's just here to suppress free speech, suppress the independent media, and it's complete bullshit. So that is my opening headlines. It's good to see everybody here. Hang on. Lauren just messaged me one more time. She said she's going to try one more time. Let's see. You there? That's
Hello.
better.
Okay.
You're good now.
Okay. Everyone can see me sitting in my bed instead of
Yeah.
having a background.
And you
Whatever.
got your dream catcher there, which is awesome.
I have them all over my room, but I'm not
That's
going to
awesome.
put my bedroom
No,
on
no, no,
display
no.
on YouTube.
No, no.
This is the
No,
most
no,
you guys
no.
are going to get.
Yeah. No, we're all good. We're all good. All right, so let's do this, Lauren. We'll pull up the hearing from today. We can hear Judge Bev.
Jen Altman's in the chat.
Oh, good. That's awesome.
Jen, I was literally texting Brian today saying, "Oh, I haven't seen Jen Altman in the chat in a while." I love it.
Jen Altman. Yeah, that's awesome. She said, "Pretty Lauren in the house." Good to see everybody.
Oh,
Dina
thank
here.
you.
Good to see you. Yes, I know. Nanette in the chat. Look at Nanette's here. Nanette, how are you? She said, "Yes, Jess. So proud." Jess Machado. I don't know if you heard, but she's going to join. She's going to report on the Karen Reed case via the Daily Wire. That's insane. That's so insane. Okay, so let's pull up the hearing here. We're going to play through this, and then possibly if we have some time at the end of the show, we'll take some live calls from all of you, because I want you to sound off and let us know how you feel so far. I can't believe we're here, Lauren. 2.0. You got to be kidding me.
I wrote on Facebook this morning, my status, I said, the biggest joke of April Fool's this year is that we're going to trial for a second time.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's literally unbelievable. I can't believe it. All right, let's
crazy.
play through this, Lauren. If you want me to stop and you want to talk, just let me know. Here we go.
All right.
Please be seated. Thank you.
Keep this.
Jurors remain standing. Anyone else may be seated. I'm sorry, jurors. Could I you all raise your right hands, please? Do each of you solemnly swear to make true answers to such questions that should be put forth to you by the court, so help you God? Thank you. You can have a seat now, I promise.
I'm going to let everybody know we are live tonight on YouTube, Facebook, and X. We have about 702 people watching right now. I appreciate everybody coming over here and hanging out with us. And I'm just going to try that. I'm going to try doing that from now on, is just trying to stream on all three. Probably going to get shot down on Facebook, but we'll see what happens.
May I call the case, Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, this is 22-117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
Counsel.
You want counsel?
Counsel.
Can I have counsel identify themselves for the record, starting with the Commonwealth?
Good morning, Your Honor. Laura McLaughlin for the Commonwealth.
Good morning, Ms. McLaughlin.
I'm out of the Commonwealth. Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Lally.
Good morning, Your Honor. Hank Brennan for the Commonwealth.
Good morning, Mr. Brennan.
Good morning, Your Honor. Alan Jackson on behalf of Karen.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson.
Good morning, Your Honor. Elizabeth Little, also on behalf of Ms. Reed.
Good morning, Ms. Little.
Morning, Your Honor. Robert Alessi on behalf of Ms. Reed.
Morning, Mr. Alessi.
Good morning, Your Honor. David Unetti for Karen Reed.
Good morning, Mr. Unetti.
Good morning, Your Honor. Victoria George on behalf of Ms. Reed.
Good morning, Ms. George. Good morning, Ms. Reed. Okay,
Karen Reed, can you please stand? Karen Reed, you are now set at the bar to be tried, and these good men and women who I shall call to pass between the Commonwealth and you upon your trial. If you object to anything, you must do so before they are sworn. You have a right to challenge any 16 jurors without giving reason. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, jurors. My name is Beverly Canoni. I'm a judge of this court, and I want to welcome you here today and give you some idea on what you will be asked to do. So, jury service, as you know, is one of the most important duties we have as citizens. We appreciate that you're here, ready, willing, and able to serve if you're called upon to do so, and our system of justice simply does not work without you, so we thank you. This is the case of Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. The Commonwealth alleges that at approximately 6 a.m. on the morning of January 29th, 2022, the Canton Police Department received a 911 call reporting
I want to pause this real quick because I know everybody keeps asking me about me getting my press pass. They're not going to give me one. I've already tried like 5 times. They will not give me a press pass, even though I have a legitimate website. They say that I cannot cite my YouTube channel. I have literally a website that I write constant blogs and articles on, and they still say that I am not a credible independent media source. They will not give me one. They deny me all the time. It's very frustrating, which is fine. I mean, we have Aiden in the box. We're gonna have Jess Machado down there, which is great. But they will not give me one. Won't give me one.
Unresponsive male party in the snow outside a residence at 34 Fairview Road in that town. Officers responded and discovered the man, later identified as John O'Keefe, off the roadway in the front lawn area. Officers identified 3 women with Mr. O'Keefe, one of whom was the defendant, Karen Reed, the girlfriend of Mr. O'Keefe. The defendant had been with Mr. O'Keefe the previous evening at 2 different bars in Canton and had driven with him to this residence in the early morning hours of this date. Mr. O'Keefe was treated by paramedics from the Canton Fire Department and transported to the Good Samaritan Medical Center, where he was subsequently pronounced deceased. The Commonwealth alleges that the defendant struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle earlier that morning and then left the scene while Mr. O'Keefe lay injured in the snow during a blizzard. The defendant denies these allegations. She is presumed to be innocent and has pled not guilty. So Ms. Reed is charged with second-degree murder. She is also charged with manslaughter while operating under the influence and with leaving the scene after causing personal injury or death. I
just want to pause this really quick, Lauren, because I don't know if you heard, and I tend to do this a lot. I want to go back up. Did you hear that there's 9 law students from Boston area schools now that are helping volunteer during this case? And I said, it is a brilliant move, because let's pack that courtroom with as many brilliant minds that are going to follow this case. And it's great because while the attorneys are working, if they miss something in that courtroom, you have like 9, let's see, 9. You have 18 sets of eyes now looking everywhere, and you have ears listening. So if they miss something, they may catch something that the attorneys don't. And that's great. I think it's a brilliant move.
The more, the merrier.
Exactly. I love it. All right, here we go, kid.
Describe these indictments in detail at the end of the case when I teach you the law, but briefly, murder is the unlawful killing of a human being. There are various ways in which the Commonwealth can prove a murder case, and the Commonwealth is permitted to proceed under all theories it believes it can prove. Here, the Commonwealth alleges that the defendant committed murder and that the murder was murder in the second degree. In order to prove the defendant guilty of second-degree murder, the Commonwealth must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed an unlawful killing and that it was done with malice. In comparison, involuntary manslaughter is an unintentional, unlawful killing caused by wanton or reckless conduct. These terms and the elements of the crimes will be explained to you in greater detail at the end of the case before you begin your deliberations. Now, at the outset, I would like to address the issue of public interest in this case and the duty of this court to adhere to the rule of law. John Adams said that we are a government of laws, not of men, and that the law must be deaf to the clamoring of the public. He meant that while the public opinion about a given subject may ebb and flow, the law must be steady, reliable, and even-handed. We know that on the subject of this case, there are people advocating for one outcome or another with intensity, but without the benefit of having heard or seen any evidence at all. The law works in a different way, and the difference is crucial to our system of justice. The jurors selected for this trial will hear and judge the evidence. They will decide what the facts are, and where the evidence is contested, they will determine where the truth lies. Ultimately, the jury will decide whether the Commonwealth has carried its burden of proving that the defendant is guilty of any crime beyond a reasonable doubt. People outside of this building have rights, and we know that they have voices, but this criminal trial will be decided by an independent jury, free from outside interference, based only upon the evidence presented in this courtroom and the law.
Yeah, I love the fact she's going to throw in a quote from John Adams. I love this. Oh, it's just so fitting for Bev in this court.
This is the only way to ensure that every person who comes before the court receives a fair trial. It is just that simple and that important. So while public comment will likely continue, the rule of law will be upheld.
Yeah.
In order to determine your eligibility to serve on this case, I'm going to ask you questions, all as a group, and then I'm going to ask you to fill out a supplemental questionnaire. We have found that the use of this questionnaire is helpful for several reasons. First, there are some personal questions on it, and we ask that you be candid. In addition, the process of filling out the questionnaire provides the opportunity to be more reflective as you answer the questions, rather than being put on the spot and asked to give immediate answers. After you fill out the questionnaire, we will have you come up to the sidebar one at a time so that we can follow up with you on your answers to the questionnaire and to my questions. I want to thank you in advance for your patience as we go through this process. As you may know, the lawyers for the parties participate in the selection of the jury. Under our law, each of the parties has the right to exercise what we call juror challenges. This means that each party has the right to challenge a certain number of prospective jurors for any reason or for no reason at all. Therefore, some of you may be excused during the impanelment procedure. If you are not selected for jury service on this case, you should not take it personally. Don't think that somehow you're not a fair person, because it's not a reflection on you at all. You will be directed back to the jury room and perhaps be picked for another case.
Jersey Jen checking in, starting it off, kicking it off with a $2 super chat. Love that blue on that screen. Thank you so much. She says, show some love for LTL Media. Thank you so much, Jen. I appreciate it. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for being here with the 9 million streams that are running right now. And I appreciate you hanging out with me and Lauren tonight. But thank you. Thanks for kicking it off. I appreciate it. All right, here we go.
In a few minutes, I'll pose a number of questions to you as a group. You have just taken an oath that requires you to truthfully answer these questions and all questions posed to you. If your answer to any question is yes, I will ask that you raise your hand and hold up your juror card in the air with the numbers facing out so that the court officer can read the number from the card. You don't have to get your cards out yet. I'll tell you when it's time to get your cards out. Now, the fact that you answer yes to one of my questions does not mean that you're automatically disqualified from jury service. It simply means that there are matters that counsel and I must discuss with you. If you find a question posed to the group overly intrusive, you may elect to answer the question at sidebar. I may have additional questions for you which relate to issues that may be raised in the trial and are designed to give us information regarding your ability to serve as a fair and impartial juror in this case. And the lawyers are permitted to ask you questions for the same reason. This is not a test. There is no right or wrong answer to any question. We're simply looking for your honest and best answers to the questions. Now I'm going to have the lawyers introduce themselves. We'll start with the Commonwealth, and when the defense introduces themselves, please introduce your client. Mr. Brennan,
Your Honor.
please.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hank Brennan. I represent the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Along with me are two other attorneys I'd like to introduce you to. All the way to my right is attorney Laura McLaughlin. And next to me is attorney Adam Lally.
So here's something interesting, Laura, and Betterow was talking about this on Mike's stream last night. And he said, he said they were talking about, the antics of Hank Brennan, how he's been during these hearings, throwing, the things that I've talked about, throwing folders down on the table and walking away, drilling into defense witnesses and throwing all like these, his mannerisms and his gestures. And he's like, usually when you get a jury in the room, you tend to act a little bit different. So, he's not going to be a very his opinion is not going to be a very likable guy, but he's wondering if he's going to scale some of that stuff back when the jury's seated in court and this trial starts. I thought that was a interesting point that he made. And I was like, yeah, kind of makes some sense.
It does. I think that is a good point. There is something to be said. You're always on your best behavior when people are watching or you're on camera kind of thing. So yeah, it could make sense.
Yeah. I'll be curious though, but I still don't think he's definitely not going to be likable.
No.
And it's funny. And you said to Lally's credit, after watching Hank Brennan for the last, 6 hearings that we've had him with, probably more than that, Adam Lally is actually a little bit more likable. As much as we hate him, he's actually a little bit more likable. I mean, he's just vanilla. He's just a plain, ordinary piece of paper. And you have Brennan where he's this, hyperbolic, kind of dickhead. He's just this dickhead. But it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting. Let me just get to this. Jersey Jen, thank you so much for another $2 super chat. She said, hit that like and sub and ring that bell. I love that. I love that combination. That's a good combination, right? Here we go.
Thank you. Defense counsel, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alan Jackson. I have the privilege of representing Ms. Karen Reed, who is to my right.
Good morning, members of the jury. My name is Elizabeth Little, and I also have the privilege of representing you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Robert Alessi, and I also have the privilege of representing Ms. Reed.
So good.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Yannetti. I'm an attorney. I have an office in Boston. I also have an office in Dedham. It is my privilege to represent Karen Reed.
Good morning, members of the jury. My name is Victoria George, and I have the pleasure of representing Ms. Reed.
Good morning, Karen Reed. Thank you for being here.
All right, thank you very much. Folks, I'm going to read a very lengthy witness list to you. It's important that you listen to the names because at some point I'm going to ask you whether you know any of these folks. So when you hear it, please listen to it in those terms. Now, it does not mean that all 150 witnesses are going to be called at trial, but you'll hear their names if they're not called. You may hear their names during trial. So it's important that we know if you know these folks. The list is alphabetical, but it's alphabetical by first name. So Aidan Kearney from Jeff.
What is the term? What? Whoa, my mind blew when I heard that today. The first name on the witness list, Lauren.
Right?
I was just like, I love it.
I know, because it's alphabetical order.
What's that?
I said, yeah, because it's alphabetical order.
I know. But by first name, which was just like he just lined up and it was bang.
Yeah,
Aidan
usually
Kearney.
it's by last name too. Like I remember in school and stuff, you were always alphabetical by last name. So that did kind of surprise me that it was by first name.
Jefferson Mass. So when you hear it, please listen to it in those terms. Now, it does not mean that all 150 witnesses are going to be called at trial, but you'll hear their names if they're not called. You may hear their names during trial. So it's important that we know if you know these folks.
Thank you.
The list is alphabetical, but it's alphabetical by first name. So Aidan Kearney from Jefferson, Mass. Dr. Aziz Wolf from South Miami, Florida. Alfredo Lopelato from Canton. Allison McCabe, also Canton. Andre Porto from the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab. Andrew Klain from Bridgewater. Andrew Rentschler, PhD from Pittsburgh. Angela Malvone from Canton. Annie Chung from Canton, Anthony Flamati from the Canton Fire Department, Ashley Bell from Canton, Ashley Valliere from the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, Brian Albert from Norwood, Brian Albert Jr. from Boston, Brian Higgins from Sandwich, Brian Loughran from Canton, Brian Wanless, retired Canton Police Department, Bridget Meehan, keeper of the records in Canton, Caitlin Albert.
Why are we not saying ATF agent Brian Higgins? Why are we not saying retired Boston police officer Brian Albert?
That's a good point.
Interesting,
I don't know.
right?
Maybe to keep things neutral, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but
although she
fuck
mentions people who have PhDs, so I guess that doesn't really make sense.
And then wait till we get to Proctor. Wait till what she says for Proctor.
From Easton, Charles Ray, a lieutenant with the Canton Police Department. Chief of Police of Canton, Helena Rafferty. Chris Van E., PhD from Novi, Michigan. Christina Hanley from the Massachusetts State Police. Christopher Albert, Canton. Christopher Curran, Canton. Colleen Crawford from the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office in Canton. Colin Albert from Canton. Courtney Proctor from Canton. Kurt Roberts from Canton. Daniel Whitley from the Canton Fire Department. Daniel Wolf, PhD from Penns Park, Pennsylvania. Derek Ellington from Wake Forest, North Carolina. Dr. Marie Russell from Los Angeles. Dr. Elizabeth Loposada from Providence. Elizabeth Proctor from Canton. Eric Hanlon, Canton. Erin Beatty, Canton. Erin O'Keefe, West Bridgewater. Francis Walsh from the Canton Fire Department. Darren Wing from Green Cove Springs, Florida. Gary Fowler from Brockton, Gregory Woodbury from the Canton Fire Department, Gretchen Voss, Boston, Mass, Hannah Knowles from the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, Heather Maxon from Walpole, Arabito Hernandez from the Boston Police Department, Holly Price from Mountain View, California, Ian Whiffen from Vienna, Virginia, Dr. Irene Scortibello from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner in Massachusetts, James Crosby, Master's PhD, from Jacksonville, Florida, Jason Becker from the Canton Fire Department,
And by the way, I just want to pause. Garrett Wing is going to be huge for the defense. Absolutely huge for the defense. I'm so glad that he's going to be able to go there. He's going to be able to show the demonstrations, I'm sure. And he's going to light it up. He's going to light it up.
DeMulis from Canton, Jennifer McCabe, also Canton, Jessica Hyde from Bridgeport, New York, John O'Keefe Sr. from Braintree, Judson Welcher, PhD, from a company called Aperture, LLC.
Here's a good point from one of my moderators. Said Bev listed the names like that to separate the family connections. That's actually a really good observation. Good observation.
Yeah.
Julie Albert from Canton, Julie Nagel from Canton, Dr. Justin Rice from South Weymouth. There's a juvenile whose initials are KF from Canton, and there's another juvenile whose initials are PF, also from Canton. Caitlin Boudreau from Raynham, Karina Kolakithis from Canton, Katie Camerano, also Canton, Katie McLaughlin.
Bring those kids back. They're going to bring those kids back and have them testify again. Sickening to put them through this again. Unreal. To go, oh, they had an argument. Well, what couple doesn't have an argument? Doesn't have a disagreement. Everybody does. Everybody does.
Very true.
From the Canton Fire Department, keeper of the records for Ring from Hawthorne, California, Kerry Curran from Canton, Kerry Roberts, Canton, Kevin Albert, Canton, Kevin O'Hara from the Massachusetts State Police, Lance Mello from the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, Laura Sullivan from Pembroke, Laurie Cahill from Worcester, Leslie Pearlstein from Canton, Lieutenant Michael Lank from the Canton Police Department, Louis Jetras from Canton, Lieutenant Brian Tully from the Mass State Police, Lieutenant John Fanning from the Mass State Police, Lieutenant Paul Gallagher from the Canton Police, Maggie Gaffney from Bonita Springs, Florida, Mark Lopalato from Canton, Margaret O'Keefe from Canton, Marietta Sullivan from Pembroke, Mary Souza, Dighton, Matthew Amory from Canton, Matthew DeSogra from Charlotte, North Carolina, Matthew Erickson from Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan, Matthew Kelly, Canton Fire Department, Matthew Kelsch, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, Matthew McCabe from Canton, Maureen Harnett from the Mass State Police Crime Lab, Megan Mariani from New York, New York, Michael Camerano from Canton, Michael Easter from Los Angeles, California, Michael Trotta, Canton Public Works Department, Michael Wagner from Foxborough, Mike Maroli from Bridgewater, Mike Rushworth from Thompson Station, Tennessee, Natalie.
So I'm going, where's Michael Proctor? I'm like, where's Michael Proctor? Oh, he's going to get Trooper in front of his name. So he's going to be down where the T's are. What?
Why, Week Berschneider from San Marino, California, Nathan Reed from Raynham, Nicholas Bradford from Lorton, Virginia, Nicholas Curran from West Roxbury, Nicholas Kolakithis from Canton, Nicole Albert from Norwood, Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey, Officer Kelly Deaver from the Boston Police Department, Officer Nicholas Barrows from the Dighton Police Department, Patrick Haggerty from Somerset, Paul Makowski from Melrose, Paul O'Keefe from Canton, Rebecca Bison from Canton, Rebecca Treyers from Norfolk, Mass, Dr. Renee Stonebridge from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner's Office in Boston, Richard Green from St. Beach, Florida, Richard Donatino from Canton, Robert Gilman from Hull, Ryan Nagel from Canton, Sarah Levinson from Canton, Sergeant Brian Gallerini from the Needham Police Department, Sergeant Sean Good from the Canton Police Department, Sergeant Paul Giampietro from the Canton Police Department, Sergeant Yuri Buchanan from Massachusetts State Police, Shannon Burgess from South Lake, Texas, Cheryl Waugh from Canton, Sophie Herzan from the Mass State Police Crime Lab, Stephanie Devlin from the Mass State Police Crime Lab, Stephen Mullaney from the Canton Police Department, Steve Nelson from the Norfolk DA's office, Steve Bernstein, who is a keeper of the records in Stoughton, Stephen Ridge from the Boston Police Department, Stephen Surratt from the Canton Police Department, Stephen Scanlon from West Roxbury, Terry Kuhn from Davis, California, Tess Chart from Lorton, Virginia, Thomas Beatty, Canton, Thomas Kelleher, Canton, Thomas Martin, Weymouth, Timothy.
We got a fan.
I'm back. I'm hot. I wanted to turn my fan on.
We got a fan. All right, here we go.
Nuttall from the Canton Fire Department, Tristan Morris from Easton, Trooper Connor Key for the Mass State Police, also from the Mass State Police, Trooper David DeChico, Trooper Evan Brent, Trooper Jeffrey Kostowski, Trooper Joseph Paul, Trooper Kathleen Prince, Trooper Michael Proctor, Trooper...
He's not a fucking trooper.
I had a thought about that though, and I could be
because he was a trooper during the first trial, but it's a new trial, Mr. Jackson.
Correct, possibly, but my thought, and I could be totally wrong, but you know how like when a president is no longer president, they still just talk about them and say, you know, President Trump, President Biden, President Obama, President Bush, like they still refer to them as president, even though they're not president anymore. So I'm thinking maybe that, but at the same time, you would think that wouldn't apply if you were dishonorably discharged, but
Right.
that was, I don't know, that was just a thought I had, that maybe you continue to be called that, but it wouldn't make sense if you're fired.
Yeah,
Maybe
fuck
if
him.
you
He
were,
was fired.
maybe if you retire or you leave on good terms, maybe you got injured or something, but I don't know. That was the only thing that came to my mind.
Honestly, I think it's just to fucking hide the fact that he's been fired. This is all
Probably.
bullshit. And I'm surprised that, and maybe we see something from the defense. They challenge that. Or, the only other thing I could think of too, but why wouldn't they update the list, is that they wrote this, they had this witness list out, and just didn't bother to make the correction. I don't know. I still think it's bullshit.
It is.
They know he was fucking fired. And I think this is just to manipulate the jury. And if this fucker gets called as Trooper Proctor, I'm going to fucking throw up all over myself. I'm going to throw up all over my desk. I'm telling you, I'm going to throw up all over my desk. He doesn't deserve that honor anymore.
No.
He doesn't deserve it.
He didn't live up to the title. He shouldn't get to be called the title.
Exactly. Fuck him. Fuck him. He's fired. He's disgraced. Riri, $10. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. She said, "You got this, Karen." Free Karen Reed. I love it. All right, let's keep playing through.
Nicholas Garino, Trooper Zachary Clark, Wendell Robery from Canton, William Reed from North Dighton. And that's the list of witnesses, folks. So in a while, I'm going to ask you all if you know any of those folks. So as you can imagine, this case is expected to take a while. The lawyers tell me that once we get a jury, which may also take a while, once we get a jury, that it's estimated that the evidence in this case should take 6 to 8 weeks. We do our best to let you know in advance what we anticipate the length of trial will be. When we start the trial, we will go full days so that we can expedite the trial. The dates that I'm giving you, the 6 to 8 weeks, is the far end of what we expect this to be, just for planning purposes. So the days will begin at 9 o'clock. We'll take a recess at about 11 for 15 or 20 minutes. We'll go until 1. Lunch will be brought into you. We'll start up sometime around 2 and go till 4 o'clock or 4:30 every day. And there'll be days off here and there throughout the schedule, and perhaps half.
That was something that Mark Betterow said too. All this half days and these days that we need to have off, he's like, just do it. 9 to 5, get through it. Because what happens is when you're breaking this up, and this is the way that Bev runs her courtroom, all these fucking sidebars, all these days that we're only going to work until 1, all that shit, it breaks up the rhythm of the case. You don't actually get into the rhythm. Betterow was talking about that the other night. And I was like, he's making such a good point about that, because he's like, there's days that you go in and you're feeling it. Like, you're like, all right, I'm in rhythm today with these constant starts and stops, and we're only going to work until noon or work until 1. You can't get into a rhythm of anything. I don't know. There's just some really good points he was making.
Yeah.
And I agree. Completely agree.
I can see that.
Off days throughout the schedule. So that's the schedule that we intend to keep. Now, it might help you if I give you a preview right now about some basic law that applies to criminal cases like this. It's my job to teach the jury the law, and I don't do that completely until the end of the trial. So for now, I'll give you a very brief summary of some of the legal principles that govern the trial. First, and most basically, the defendant starts this trial presumed to be innocent. The fact that she was arrested or that she was indicted is not proof of anything. An indictment is just a piece of paper. It just makes an accusation. An indictment is merely a formal manner of accusing a person of a crime in order to bring her to trial in the superior court. But it is only the jury, in other words, you folks, who can decide whether the prosecution has proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt. If the Commonwealth does not do that, then the presumption of innocence requires you to find the defendant not guilty. The law does not require a defendant to prove her innocence, to produce any evidence whatsoever, or to do anything other than attend the trial. This presumption of innocence remains with the defendant until you, the jury, make your determination after listening and considering all the evidence. Another important principle of law is that the defendant has an absolute right not to testify, since the entire burden of proof in this case is on the Commonwealth to prove that she is guilty. Under our system of law, a defendant has a perfect right to say to the Commonwealth, "You accuse me, now you prove it, and prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. I do not have to say a word." A defendant's decision whether or not to testify has nothing to do with the question of whether she is guilty or not guilty. The jury must not consider it in any way or even discuss it in their deliberations. Jurors in a criminal case must determine whether the Commonwealth has proved its case against the defendant beyond a reasonable doubt based solely on the testimony of the witnesses and the exhibits. That brings me to the requirement of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. What is proof beyond a reasonable doubt? The term is often used and probably pretty well understood.
She got to do this every fucking day. Like every time they bring in a new jury group to be selected, she probably got to do this every day, right?
She does, yeah, because she has to it's an all new set of people and they need
Oh
the
my
same
God.
instructions. I would get so tired of that.
That's exhausting.
Yeah.
Especially listening to her.
Understood, though it is not easily defined. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt does not mean proof beyond all possible doubt. For everything in the lives of human beings is open to some possible or imaginary doubt. A charge is proved beyond a reasonable doubt if, after you have compared and considered all the evidence, you have in your minds an abiding conviction to a moral certainty that the charge is true. When we refer to moral certainty, we mean the highest degree of certainty possible in matters relating to human affairs based solely on the evidence that has been put before the jury in this case. I have told you that every person is presumed to be innocent unless and until he or she is proved guilty, and that the burden of proof is on the Commonwealth. If you evaluate all the evidence and you still have a reasonable doubt remaining, the defendant is entitled to the benefit of that doubt. Probability that the defendant is more likely to be guilty than not guilty. That is not enough. Instead, the evidence must convince you of the defendant's guilt to a reasonable and moral certainty, a certainty that convinces your understanding and satisfies your reason and judgment as jurors who are sworn to act conscientiously on the evidence. This is what we mean by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. A juror's job is to find the facts. In determining the facts, you may draw reasonable inferences from the evidence that you believe because you're entitled to rely upon both direct and circumstantial evidence. I'll define those terms in greater detail later, but direct evidence essentially is evidence of what a witness claims to have seen or heard or touched or somehow perceived with his or her own senses. Circumstantial evidence exists where a witness does not testify directly to the fact that is sought to be proven, but you are provided with evidence of other facts and then asked to draw reasonable inferences from them about the fact that is sought to be proved. Jurors are entitled to consider both kinds of evidence. There is no difference at all in the probative value between direct and circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence is competent to establish guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, I've used the word inference. An inference is a logical deduction or conclusion that you may, but are not required.
All right, let me answer this question from Jen Altman just has. She said, what is the over under how long it takes to pick a jury? So I'm reading something here from an article. It says court spokesman Jennifer Donahue said approximately 275 people from the Norfolk County have been summoned for jury duty each day this week, Tuesday through Friday. If a full jury is not impaneled by April 4th, Donahue said that approximately 243 jurors per day have already been summoned in order to meet the existing needs of the court. So 275 all the way up until the 4th. And then after that, they're literally just going to keep summonings around 250 people, 240 people until it's selected. She said the jury selection took 5 days in Reed's first trial, and 19 jurors and alternates were selected from a pool of 401 people who were vetted. So, you know, I'd say the over under probably 7 to 10 days, but but you got to think about it. In the first trial, this wasn't as public. A lot of people didn't know what was going on. And Grant, I still run into people that say in the state of Massachusetts that they haven't heard of this. Now I'm just looking. Maybe they don't watch the news. They're not true crimers or whatever it may be. But I think it's going to be hard. I mean, this could go, I'm just guesstimating, maybe 10 to 14 days.
Yeah, I'm thinking a good, like
over a week, I would think.
Over under 7 to 10 days.
7 to 10 days, like maybe. Yeah.
If the first one took 5 days, I could see this one taking 7 to 8 days, honestly. Yeah. Because there's a lot more people this time around that are familiar with the case. So
yeah, and they got 2 today, which from what I heard was a man and a woman. So we got 2 today. All right, let's keep going.
Required to draw from evidence that you have accepted as believable. Inferences are little steps in reasoning, steps in which you take some known information, apply your experience in life to it, and then draw a conclusion. An inference drawn from circumstantial evidence need not be necessary or inescapable, but any inference which you do draw must be reasonable and possible. It must be logical. It must be a natural one which is not too remote in the ordinary course of events. You may not guess. You may not speculate or engage in surmise. When the evidence tends equally to give rise to either of two inconsistent propositions, the Commonwealth has established neither proposition.
Wow.
In order to convict the defendant, you must find that all of the evidence and the reasonable inferences that you have drawn, taken together, prove that she is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, our system of justice depends on judges like me and jurors like you being able and willing to make careful and fair decisions. All people deserve fair and equal treatment in our system of justice, regardless of their race, national origin, religion, age, ability, gender, sexual orientation, education, income level, or any other personal characteristic. You have agreed to be fair, and I'm sure that you want to be fair, but that is not always easy. One difficulty comes from our own built-in expectations and assumptions. They exist even if we are not aware of them, and even if we believe we do not have them. Some of you may have heard this called implicit bias, and that is what I'm talking about. We judges have the same problem, obviously, as everyone else, so let me share a few strategies that we have found useful. First, slow down. Do not rush to a decision. Hasty decisions are more likely to reflect stereotypes or hidden biases. Second, keep an open mind. Avoid drawing conclusions until the end of the case when you and your fellow jurors deliberate. Remember that when you deliberate, you will have all the evidence and all the time you need to make a careful decision. So there truly is no need to stop making up your mind before that. Third, you should listen closely to all the witnesses. That is the best way to ensure that you decide this case based on the evidence and the law instead of on unsupported assumptions. Fourth, as you listen to the testimony about the people involved in this case, consider them as individuals rather than as members of a particular group. Finally, I might ask myself, would I view the evidence differently if the people were from different groups, such as different racial, ethnic, or gender identity groups? At the end of the case, I will remind you of these strategies and ask you to focus on the evidence instead of any unsupported assumptions you may have. All we ask is that you individually and as a group do your best to resolve this case based upon the evidence and law without sympathy, bias, or prejudice to the best of your ability as human beings. Now, I know that some of this may be confusing, and perhaps all of it's confusing at this early stage of the case. You'll certainly be in a better position to understand this at the end of the case when you've heard all the evidence and I can explain the law in detail. So don't be worried if you didn't catch everything I've said. Why am I telling you these things now? Because we need to know if you are able to follow the law in this case. You don't necessarily have to agree with the law, but all the jurors will have to apply the law as I describe it. So for jury selection, it's important to know if any of you might have doubts whether you can accept and follow these legal rules. So I'm going to ask you questions in a few minutes. So if your answer is yes to any of my questions, please raise your hand. Before we begin, though, I understand that sometimes jurors do not fill out the juror questionnaires completely, that sometimes we are in a rush to send them in, or sometimes we don't think that our situation applies to the question that is asked. If the lawyers and I notice that the questionnaire appears to be incomplete, we may ask you to answer the question for us. Also, if you know now that you failed to include information on the questionnaire, for example, a work history, prior involvement with the court, whether as a party in a case, a witness, or a juror, please let us know. So while you're taking out your cards, I will see counsel and Chief Rosen, juror number 79 too, and counsel at sidebar, please.
Juror 79 already. Wow. All right. Let's speed up a little bit here. Let's see if we got anything. That might, here we go. Let's go back. So this is crazy. They got to do this every day, every time the jurors come in. Every time the jurors come in. I got Julie with a $5 PayPal. She said, "Good day, guys. Watching from far. Karen is absolutely innocent. Keep up the great work." Melbourne, Australia. That's where she's from. And then let's see. I got JD just sent over a buy me a coffee. Said we all need coffee after listening to that witness list. I agree.
So now I have questions that I'm going to ask you, and the court officers will read your number. So if you have that card, and hold it high, please. Do any of you folks or a close personal friend or family member know, or have you had any prior dealings with any of the witnesses whose names I've read? Please raise your hand.
96, 96, 32, 32, 59, 59, 3, number 3. Number 83.
A lot of people.
Juror number 46. Juror number 90.
All right, thank you. Do any of you folks or a close personal friend or family member know, or have you had any prior dealings with the lawyers in this case or with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office? I see no affirmative responses. Do any of you folks or a close personal friend or family member have any financial or other personal interest whatsoever in this case or its outcome? I see no affirmative responses. Has anyone seen, heard, or talked about this case? Please raise your hand.
Juror number 47, 47. Juror number 108, 108. Juror number 54, 54. Juror number 4. Juror number 7. Juror number 95, 95. Juror number 12, 1, 2. Juror number 35, 3, 5. Juror number 2. Juror number 107, 107. Juror number 41, 41. Juror number 46, 46. Juror number 24, 2, 4. Juror number 97, 97. Juror number 23, 2, 3. Juror number 99, 99.
Juror number 25, 25. Juror number 90, 90. Juror number 92, 92. Juror number 91, 91. Juror 106. Juror number 101. Juror number 68. Juror number 65. Juror number 105. Juror number 60. Juror number 115, 115. Juror number 76. Juror number 66. Juror number 85.
Juror number 57, 57. Juror number 6. Juror number 96, 96. Juror 109. Juror 113, 13. Juror 73, 73. Juror 31, 31. Juror 32, 32. Juror 111, 111. Juror 88. Juror 53, 53. Juror 110. Juror 59, 59. Juror 40, 40. Juror 94, 94. Juror 3. Juror 86, 86. And juror 62, 62. Juror 84, 84. Juror 112, 112. Juror 64, 64. Juror 82, 82. Juror 19, 19. Juror 77. Juror 17, 17. Juror number 75, 75. Juror number 38. Juror number 43. Juror number 29. Juror number 87. Juror number 28. Juror number 56. Juror number 113. Juror number 36. Juror number 98.
Well, I'm just going to probably get to this. Why are different people reading the numbers? They probably spread out court officers throughout the entire group. It's just a little bit easier. It probably saves time. That's what I'm guessing. Instead of one person having to walk through every row and do that. I got to say, I'm actually kind of happy to see this and hear this because you got some honest people up there. You know, at least they're saying, you know, I've heard of this before. I've heard of this case before. And it'd be really weird if you didn't hear someone up there say, I've never heard of this before. So, again, I just think that they probably spread court officers through the courtroom. It saves time reading the jury numbers like this, so they don't have to keep running back and forth or run up and down the rows. That's the way that I see it. So, all right, let's keep playing here.
Juror number 83. Juror number 72. Juror number 14. Juror number 42. Juror number 17. Juror number 18. Juror number 67. Juror number 37. Juror number 69. Juror number 63. And juror number 22.
Juror number 30, 30.
You go right there.
Juror 45, 45.
Okay, thank you. Have any of you folks expressed or formed any opinion with respect to this case? If so, please raise your hand.
Juror number 108, 108. Juror number 7. Juror number 95, 95. Juror number 107, 107. Juror number 2. Juror number 35, 35. Juror number 8. Juror number 97, 97.
Juror number 90, 90. Juror number 91. Juror 106. Juror 101. Juror 105. Juror 60. Juror 115, 115. Juror number 66. And juror number 85.
Juror 109. Juror 73, Juror 86, Juror number 3, Juror 94, Juror 40, Juror 59, Juror 53, Juror 84, Juror 112, 112, Juror 64, Juror 82, Juror 77, and Juror 17, 17. Juror number 75.
Thank you for being here,
Juror
Jake.
number
Appreciate you.
43, Juror number 29, Juror number 28, Juror number 113, Juror number 36, Juror number 18, Juror number 37, and Juror number 22.
All right, thank you. Are any of you folks aware of any bias or prejudice that you may have in regard to this case or in favor of or against either of the parties? If you believe that you might have a bias, please raise your hand.
Juror number 25.
Oh.
Juror number 8. Juror 90. Juror 91. Juror 101. Juror 105.
Bev excuses herself. No bias. She just walks out of the courtroom.
Juror number 115, 115.
She gets up and just walks away.
Imagine.
Does anybody have a bias in this case? She's like, well, there we go. She gets
I
up
do.
and just leaves.
She should have
She's
recused
like,
herself the first
what's
time.
that?
She should have recused herself the first trial
Yeah.
as soon as that Facebook message about her seaside cottage came up. Because just the appearance, I'm pretty sure that the requirements to meet like a conflict of it just has to look like there's a conflict of interest. And you should be like, I can't do this.
Yeah. She gets up and walks away. She's like, Jim, take over.
I wish she would walk away from the case.
Juror number 85.
Juror number 17, Juror number 38, Juror number 36, Juror number 37, Juror number 3.
All right, thank you. Do any of you folks have any difficulty hearing or any problem with understanding the English language, any physical or mental condition, or any religious or philosophical beliefs that would interfere with your ability to hear the evidence in this case, to understand the evidence, to concentrate during the trial, or to deliberate for the purpose of reaching a verdict? If so, please raise your hand.
Juror number 95, 95. Juror number 8.
Juror 101, 101. Juror number 65. Juror 105.
Juror number 13, Juror 31, 31. Juror 75, Juror 36, Juror 98.
Juror number 33, 0.
Okay. Would any of you folks have any difficulty following the concepts that I've described? First, that the burden of proof rests entirely with the Commonwealth. Second, that burden of proof is proof beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. And third, that the defendant has absolutely no burden. She's presumed to be innocent unless and until the jury determines that the Commonwealth has proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt. Is there anyone who would have difficulty following those very important constitutional concepts?
Juror number 58, 58. Juror number 8.
Okay. Now, I can tell you folks that after every jury trial, I talk to jurors, and they often tell me not only that their jury experience was an interesting one, but a rewarding one. I do understand, though, that for a few of you, however, service in this jury may be a substantial hardship, and let me explain what I mean by that. It's something more than mere inconvenience, because every civic duty we have causes us to be inconvenienced. It's far more extraordinary. It's something that would justify your being excused and a fellow juror having to serve in your place. I do understand, though, that it may be a substantial hardship. So if anyone has a substantial hardship, and what I typically mean by this is you have airline tickets or surgery scheduled during the course of this trial. But bearing in mind that this case may take 6 to 8 weeks to try according to the schedule that I've described, and keep in mind that I'll only excuse those who have a substantial hardship. If you think you are in that group, please raise your hand.
Juror number 97, 97. Juror number 47, 47. Juror 108, 108. Juror number 8.
Juror 8 again. Oh my
7.
God. The first one out.
Juror number 24, 24.
Juror number 90. Juror number 91.
Excuse me.
106. 101. 34. 105. 70. 80. 60.
Juror 6, Juror 109, 13, 31, 32, 88, 53, 110, Juror 3, 112, 64, 82, 17, 17.
Weasel's Identity Crisis. Thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. Lauren and I appreciate it. And thank you for being a channel member as well, too. It's nice to see those members in here. I appreciate it. All right. Let's get back, maybe. I don't think Juror 8 made it today, Lauren.
I have a feeling that when you get a juror that's clearly just like does not want to be there, you're not going to get them to fulfill their duty. And it's just like, let them go. They're not going to do a good job.
JD says, wait, you get free lunch, number 8. You're going to want to hang around. All right. Let's finish this up. Take some calls.
Such a good benefit.
Number 69, juror number 63. Juror number 62, 62.
Juror number 41, 41.
All right. So in a few minutes, I'm going to leave the bench to give you a chance to fill out the supplemental questionnaires that we have. I ask that you not talk to anyone around you or share with any other prospective juror or anyone any questions or comments or concerns that you may have about jury duty, either generally or in this particular case. If you should have any questions or concerns, you can raise that when you come back to talk to me. So we appreciate your patience. We understand that this will take a while, but I will recess now for you to do that. All right. Thank you.
All right.
That's all we got. So that was day 1. Jury selection. Number 8 didn't want to be there. Oh, I love it. Number 8. I don't know, Lauren. It's gonna take a while to get through this, I think.
Yeah, I think it's gonna definitely take at least 2 full weeks, like a Monday through Friday minimum. I don't think it'll be less than that. They're gonna have a hard time finding people in this case that or in this state that haven't heard of the case.
I know.
Yeah, it's huge now. So
super huge.
Super
duper huge. All right.
Wicked big.
What's that?
I said it's wicked big.
Wicked fucking big, dude. All right. Well,
yeah.
Let's do this. If I can get my phone to work. I replaced my screen with like a non-Apple screen, and this thing has caused me so much shit since then. Want to take some calls?
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know if like this is like weird. Like I watch Tommy and Mike take calls, and everybody can hear both of them on the panel, but for some reason when I do it, they can never hear the other person. So we'll try it out.
Give it a try. Yeah.
Give it a try.
Take a whack
bring
at
up
it.
the phone here. I'm going to put up the phone number here. Let's hear from all of you. Voice your rants, your concerns, whatever it may be. What did you think about day 1 of jury selection? What do you think is going to happen here going forward? Will Karen get a free trial? Let us know. I'm going to just get a couple ground rules here. If someone's on the phone, please do not call in because the beeping gets annoying. And I'm just going to send it automatically to voicemail. I'm going to give everybody 8 minutes. I'm going to put a timer up on the screen so we can try to take in as many calls as we can. I'm going to put the timer up. Once your 8 minutes is up, I'm just going to hang up. It's not being rude. It's just the way I want to do it. And it gives everybody a chance to call in. All right. Phone number's up. You can call the show 339-364-8881. And I'm going to share my screen here with the Google countdown. We'll give everybody 8 minutes to voice their concerns. After 8, we're just going to move on. Don't be shy. Call. Let us know what you think. Tell us about what you think about the buffer zone. Let us know about Trooper Michael Proctor being called today on the witness list as a trooper. Whatever it may be. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Yeah, ring a ding 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 ding. And I don't know. I think it's gonna be wild, but I definitely think the defense is gonna be very, very well prepared this time around.
I think they've had a lot of input.
Yeah. Let me do this. All right. Here we go. You are on Let's Talk Live. Who do we have?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Hi, how are you?
Let us know your name.
Can you hear me?
It's Julie.
Calls are not working. Dun, dun, dun,
I can hear
dun.
Julie.
You can hear?
I can hear her.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you
Sounds
now.
like she's
I can
from
hear you.
Australia.
Perfect. Here we are.
Oh, okay, great. This is Julie.
Oh, hello, Julie. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm well. So what do you think?
Okay, I think, I've got so much to say. I don't even know where to begin. I think this is absolute shambles. I don't even understand why it's going all the way back to a new trial again.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. I mean, I absolutely agree. I mean, we shouldn't be here. You know, like Lauren was saying at the beginning of the show,
It's so frustrating.
Yeah. Like Lauren was saying at the beginning of the show, this is the biggest April Fool's joke. I mean, this shouldn't be taking place.
Oh, yeah. I know. And I've been watching it from pretty much day dot. And it's frustrating to hear Brennan talk. It actually makes my blood boil.
Me too.
All of us. It makes all our bloods
The shit
boil.
that comes out of his mouth. Oh, it's just so frustrating and so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question. When did you how did you hear about this case, and when did you start actually watching it? Were you watching it during the hearings, or did you pick it up around the trial?
No. I started watching it. I was just on YouTube, and Court TV came up, I think. And I think one of the Alberts was on the stand. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, who is this doofus? Anyway, and I just started watching it, and then somebody, I don't remember, one of the witnesses mentioned Turtle Boy. And I was like, who's Turtle Boy? So then I just Googled Turtle Boy. And then from there, that's when I started really getting into it. And then through Turtle Boy, that's where I found you as well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he kept on bringing your name up. And I'm like, who's Brian from LTL Media?
Yeah. I appreciate that. No, yeah, it's wild that we're sitting here, you know, but I think Karen in 2.0 is in very, very good hands. We've added Alessi. We have attorney Victoria that was announced today. I think that's going to be a real big thing with the jury. And like I said, I mean, attacking reasonable doubt. That's what we need to do here.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I've got a really good feeling that she will win this, but I'm really scared for her as well.
What makes you nervous about it?
Brennan is a snake.
Yeah. He's slimy. I mean, even Mark.
That's what makes me nervous.
Yeah, he's slimy. I mean, even Mark Betterow the other night was just saying, you know, let's face it here. You know, as much as Hank is a snake, he's a smart guy. He is smart. We can't discount that.
Correct.
He's dirty. He's a snake, but he is smart.
Yes, he's dirty. He's a snake. He's smart. And the jury won't be able to see that or hear that because they will only see and hear what is in court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be curious to see how he acts around the jury. You know, we've had all these theatrics like in the hearings, but I'm wondering if he tones that down in front of the jury.
Different.
Yeah,
he will, 100%.
You think he will?
And that's what makes me absolutely, and that's what makes me nervous about the whole trial for her.
Don't be nervous. Have hope.
But look, I mean, like you said, you know, Alan Jackson is incredible. Alessi is incredible. They're all incredible.
Yeah, she's in good hands. She's in very good hands, and I probably
Absolutely.
some of the best attorneys in the country right now are representing her. So I have high confidence in this, and I do feel, in my opinion, 100% this time around, she will be acquitted.
Me too.
Yeah, look, and like I said to you, like I've got a really good feeling that everything's going to go very well for her, but I'm just nervous for her at the same time.
Yeah, there's reservations. I mean, we're not into the trial yet, so we don't know how the flow of the trial's going. I think once we get maybe those first couple of days and see how this is all going to start kind of working out, then we may still start building our confidence off that.
Yeah, it's normal to be nervous too, I think, even if you are competent.
So thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you. It's an absolute pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you for calling in.
Wednesday here.
It's Wednesday already.
I'm in Melbourne.
Wow.
Lunchtime. I'm about to make my lunch.
There you go. Well, thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to chat to you. Have a lovely evening.
All right, Julie. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Melbourne, Australia checking in. Look at that.
That's crazy. We got a pretty strong group of supporters out in Australia, from what I understand.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of the true crime, but if someone wants to call in, you can call the show 339-364-8881. What's on your mind? Let us know. How are you feeling? All right, let's take this call. You are on Let's Talk Live. Who do we have?
Hey, my name's Jason. I'm from Alabama.
Hey, Jason, how are you?
I'm doing great tonight. How are y'all?
We're good. We're good. So what's on your mind?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I don't think she's going to get a fair trial.
You don't think she's going to get a fair trial?
No. And my reason is all them some bitches are in too deep now. And they know with all the butt dials and all the tail lights and all this stuff, they know they fudged it. And once if they don't send her to jail, then they're going to have to pay out millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? It's like, did you ever watch Making a Murderer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Before Stephen Avery got put back in prison, they were about to pay him, I think, $40 million. And then right before that happened, right before they had to pay, they ended up making up some stuff to send him back. Because they were like, we ain't giving this son bitch $40 million.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the same thing with Karen Reed, because her case is going to be worth triple that, you know?
Yeah. The good thing about it is this, and this is the one thing that I love, is that, obviously we've had trial one. So if you have all these witnesses that get up and they try to change their stories over and over again, and I think this is what's going to take a lot of time in the trial too, is they're going to have to pull all those transcripts and go back and say, this is not what you said in trial one, and call these people out. So I have that confidence there.
Right.
But again, we haven't seen the start of trial two yet. So I know people are nervous. I know people are on edge and ice or whatever you want to say. But I think once we start getting kind of into the flow of it, you're going to kind of see how this is all going to wrap out from the Commonwealth and defense side.
Right. Well, I hope you're right, because I mean, even a blind man's deaf dog can see something ain't right here.
It's
like,
definitely not right.
This wouldn't fly down in Alabama. People go crazy down here,
So how did you actually hear about the trial? When did you start following it?
I had a coworker that sent me a link a couple of years ago about some lady acting like a quote unquote hood burger. And I read it, and it was actually this Turtle Boy guy. So I ended up reading about it, about the hood burgers and the ratchets and whatever. And then come to find out, the Canton story came up, and I just started watching it. And I watch different court cases on TV throughout the year. I'm old now. I'm up there, but I started paying attention, and right off the bat, I'm like, there ain't no way this dude was hit by a car, because if he got hit by a car, he'd have a lot more injuries somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
here in I ain't educated like Trooper Paul, but I think the physics just don't add up. The spinning pirouette of a landing on or whatever, like this, I just don't think it happened.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, and the thing that's just really shady about it, and going back to Jackson when he's crossing Trooper Paul, and he says, "I just don't understand. I mean, there's no bruises, there's no broken bones. I mean, if you've been hit in the arm." And you would think, an 8,000-pound vehicle that coming at you at 24 miles an hour, you would think it would break your arm.
Right.
And especially sending this person into the pirouette, the spin. I like when he says that, the spin. And then, essentially shooting someone in the air 30 feet. You would think they would have some bruising and broken bones.
Right. And also down here, it don't snow. If it snows down here, they shut the whole damn state down. But thinking about that plow driver, he seemed like the most honest dude throughout the whole trial, and surely he would have saw him, but he did see a car parked there exactly where they found the body, I don't understand how that was not hammered time and time again. Who drove that car? How come we didn't even look to see who drove that car,
Yeah, exactly. Make a good point there. Yeah, I mean, again, we got to get into the rhythm of the trial. We'll get through this jury selection, start day one. I think by, probably by a week, you're going to start seeing, maybe, a week, 5 to 7 days, you'll start kind of feeling the rhythm of the trial and get kind of a clue of how, maybe this is going. So we'll have to see what happens.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm almost twice Karen's age, but if you talk to her, invite her to come fishing with me on the lake. Okay.
Will do, buddy. Will do. Thank you for calling in tonight.
All right. Thank you. Yes, sir. And roll tide for John O'Keefe.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, bud.
All right.
It was a great call.
Yeah. Like I was telling you earlier, Brian, I think it's absolutely insane that there's no pictures of John's body or the crime scene in like where his body was. I always just kind of assumed that there were, and they just weren't released to the public for obvious reasons of decorum and, stuff. But when the audit came out today, that was the first time I realized they didn't have any pictures of that. And I was flabbergasted.
Yeah. I'm going to actually, when I leave here, I'm going to go home. I'm going to read through that section of the report, start getting my notes for it. Because tomorrow, live on the show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my good friend, retired Mass State Police Trooper Todd McGee will be on the show. And we're going to go through the audit. And I cannot wait to hear, what his conclusions or his comments are about the audit. Because there's a lot of things in there of broken policy and procedure. Yeah. We also got a lot of new photos in there too, where all the Sallyport cameras were. We have photos of those, which is interesting. That's the first time that I've seen actual photos of them. And they actually give a timeline, their timeline of the audit. So of the incident. So I'll be curious to see, what happens. Me too. What their determination is. All right, let's take another call here. You can call the show at 339-364-8881. We're going to take one here. It looks like Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania calling in. You're on Let's Talk Live. Who do we got?
What's up?
What's up?
Ron, I'm from Pittsburgh, PA.
Awesome. What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, I just want to, I don't think you get enough recognition about how much you raised for Karen. I know there was some drama last week, but you don't get enough recognition for at least 3-4 times a week. You're giving money back to Karen or Aiden. I just don't think you get enough recognition over it.
Listen, man, I appreciate that. That's kind of my purpose here with the platform, was to come on and do this. And if I can help give back to my community, that's kind of what I want to do, and I've thought about tailoring my content and doing different things down the road. But if I can help raise money for people that I believe in and people that I want to help and give back to that defense, i.e. Karen Reed, Turtle Boy, we raised funds to do two billboards and bring awareness to Trooper Enrique Delgado Garcia, a forgotten story of a trooper that died at the Mass State Police Academy. And I mean, that's a big thing. We send people there, citizens there to get trained to become state troopers. And, he would have been one of the good ones. He would have been one of the honest ones. And I was just pissed that story was a kind of a flash in the pan and it just got lost. So I was like, what can I do? What can I do to raise awareness? And, using funds that have come through the channel. Obviously, this is monetized. I do get paid from Google. And I use that money to put back in the community and help out. It's just my way of doing this. I know other people have their own way of what they do and how they want to spend their money. That's perfectly fine. But, listen, man, I appreciate that. I
have one question about what.
Yeah.
Okay, Allie, I think it was Jen McCabe's daughter, with the text message. Why wasn't that really ever brought up with the comma at the end of 2024 or 2022?
I'm sorry, Allie McCabe's text messages?
Yeah, the text with Colin, the screenshot. Why didn't they hammer that home more about how there's a comma at the end of the date?
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, maybe that's something that they attack this time around. We know that she's on the witness list. We know Colin Albert's going to be on the witness list too. I don't know. I again, hammer home reasonable doubt. I think the biggest thing, the opportunity that they have here to go back and look at all this, because I felt like they didn't do it enough in the first trial. I think they started to touch on things like, the tail light. If you go to that and you just kind of pick it apart, or the way that evidence was collected with the evidence bags, the solo cups, or whatever it may be. And obviously now with the Canton audit, we see that they didn't follow policy and procedure. That's a big thing. I'm sure they will bring that up in the trial. Right. I don't know. Maybe get away from some of the again, and I'm just using Ronnie the juror's words, the distractors, and let's just stick to the things that are there, the case. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's going to be a completely different trial, though.
I just feel bad because she has an uphill battle, and like you can tell Morrissey and Bev are totally against her, and I think the best we're going to get is a mistrial against.
I don't think in any court of law around this great country you're ever going to be able to Karen Read will never be convicted. It's either going to be a mistrial or it's going to be that she's going to be acquitted. And I strongly believe, I know Lauren strongly believes, and I think everybody in this chat strongly believes that Karen Read will be acquitted in 2025. I mean, it's inevitable. It's inevitable this time around. And again, I think the defense is going to be overly prepared this time around and ready.
I don't think it's defense. I just think that Bev has her hands on the jurors, and it's going to be impossible to get 12 jurors that aren't compromised, at least one of them.
Yeah. It's scary. It's very, very scary. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an awesome job, and don't let anybody get you down, because you're very generous with the money you raise and give back to Enrique, Karen, Aiden.
I appreciate
it. Doesn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Again, I'm looking at it right now over my doorway. I have a big sticker up there, and it says "Never give up." And I'm here to stay. I'm here to see this to completion. Just go along the ride for me. That's what I always say.
All right. Thanks for taking my call.
All right. Take care. All right. I don't know, Lauren, you want to take maybe one more and then we'll call it a night?
Yeah. And I don't think the callers can hear me, which that's fine. But also, you forgot to set the timer.
I know. I don't know why the call is so like when Tommy and Mike do it. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's something I got to ask Mike or Tommy about. All right, let's take this one here. What's going on? You're on Let's Talk Live. Who do we got?
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, listen, you guys do a great job. And I just want to, I've been following this case for a while.
Okay.
And I found I'll never forget the funny thing you said. It was when Jen McCabe's husband was on the witness stand. And he was so like nervous and awkward, and he was fidgeting around. And you at one point said, "Look at this douchebag! What a dick!"
Yeah.
And I shared that with a friend of mine, and he says, "What's his name? I gotta follow that guy too." But it was classic because I was thinking the same thing, and you said it. It was like, "Wow, you hit it on the money, man. I've been a big fan of yours."
I appreciate
So
that.
You're awesome, dude.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
You know what it is?
and,
It's just
great.
It's just the entitlement of these people. I mean, you can see it. It's all over their face, bro. Like, it's just the fucking entitlement of all of this. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, we were doing
He was squirming. Go ahead.
I said we last night, I don't know if you watched the show. I picked out like 10 of the most mouth-dropping moments, and I picked smug Matt
I saw
McCabe.
that.
He's just smug, you know? He thinks it's a joke. You know, he's just a douchebag. And he's like the type of person, in my opinion, he's the type of person that just, he thinks he's right. He's like one of those people that just have to be right all the time or think he's right all the time. That's the vibe I get from him.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, they just, they feel like I shouldn't be here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know a guy just like him too. And I think he even said that, like, if you probably know somebody like this. And at one point they asked him a question. He looked down at his tie. He said, "What's he looking for?
Yeah.
What's he looking at his tie for?" He goes, "That's just a nervous reaction." Because he knows he's lying.
Yep.
But you've been my favorite ever since, man. I love the work you do. Keep it up, brother, and God bless. All right?
Yeah, God bless you. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. All right, Lauren. Look at this. They respected the time. I think the time was good, so we don't run over. You know, I try to give everybody, you know, the opportunity to call in and voice their concerns. So I think we're gonna call this one. We had some great calls tonight, right?
Yeah, really good calls. Loved it from Australia, Alabama, Pittsburgh, like awesome everywhere, all around.
Yes. So I'm just trying to think. So tomorrow night, Todd McGee will be live on the show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to go through the Canton audit. I have a lot of homework to do, so I'm going to head out of here and get home and take some notes and have Todd on tomorrow. We're going to go through the Canton audit, and I'd love to see his opinion on all of it. I think he's going to be very upset about police procedures because he seems pretty much on top of that.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of that, I saw that Bev denied a motion to present an expert who would testify about all of the police procedures that were not followed.
Easter,
Yep, that's who it was. Easter. She denied that motion. Yep.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. Like, why?
Super crazy. And now look at the timing of the audit comes out today, and we find out there's police procedures that were missed, that were literally missed. And I don't know. I think this is something that the defense is going to be able to use. I think it's a positive thing, and hopefully they can bring it into evidence.
It's a very positive thing for Karen's case. Yeah,
I agree. Lauren, we're gonna probably iron out the details for Sunday. If Lauren can't make it down, she'll probably do it virtually with me. We're just gonna try to figure out a time because there are shows going left and right now, and we're just trying to find our space here on Let's Talk Live. And I appreciate the people that, have called in, said a lot of positive things about the show, that watch the show, and just give us a chance out there in this world of kind of craziness, the jam-packed shows. So, I appreciate you all spending time with us, and I don't know. I think that's going to be it. But tomorrow night we'll be back live, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you wait here when I close out, it'll take you right over to the next show. Just set your reminders. Be here at 7 p.m. Retired Mass State Police Trooper Todd McGee will be on the show, and we're going to go through the Canton audit. So, Lauren, any last words?
Just thank you, everyone who joined us tonight. It was a good time as always, and hopefully we will see you on Sunday. Well, tomorrow, but hopefully I'll see you on Sunday.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna hit the outro. Can you stick around backstage when we go off air? I'm just gonna talk to you real quick.
Sure.
All right. Good night, everybody. See ya.
Bye, guys.